the world center of racing, Daytona International Speedway, for this, the landmark 25th anniversary season of the True Value International Race of Champions. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and we are glad to have you with us. You know, this all began way back in 1973 when racing enthusiast Roger Penske and Riverside Raceway President Les Richter decided, let's figure out who really is the best race car driver in the world. How do you do that? Well, you invite championship caliber drivers from all over the world, put them in identically prepared cars on the same racetracks on the same days. And the result, well, 1974's inaugural IROC champion Mark Donohue drove this Porsche 911 to 3 wins in 4 events that first season. After the first year, these exotic sports cars were gone, replaced by American-made muscle cars, like this Camaro that Mario Andretti drove to the 1979 IROC Series title. But today, 12 of the world's greatest race car drivers will compete in identically prepared Pontiac Firebird Trans Ams here at Daytona to see who will be the IROC anniversary champion for this 25th year. Over the past 24 seasons, there have been some great moments in the International Race of Champions. But folks, stay tuned. The best is yet to come.
What would happen if you took the 12 finest race drivers in the world?
He's spinning there, the front stretch, back stretch, they're going into top 9.
We've got an accident off the start.
12 of the greatest racing drivers in the world.
And he's going to give him a little help. There it is. Whoa!
He's up inside Bell. You see, he's made Bell spin. Unbelievable.
The premise, of course, is to determine who would be the world's greatest race driver.
Bobby Rahal and Michael Andretti tangle with one another.
Here comes Jeff Gordon around Zanardi.
Son and father touch coming down at the line.
Wow, what a finish! Well, it's finally been done in an international race of champions.
ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, welcomes you to race number 1 of the 2001 True Value International Race of Champions. We're at Daytona International Speedway as we kick off this 25th year of the series. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Daytona as we begin this 4-race series. We'll also have events at Talladega, at Michigan, and we'll wrap things up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now, this is the 25th year. We've seen some great races over the past year at Daytona. Basically, they've been dominated by those drivers in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Scott Sharp is one of the drivers that will be calling the race for us here today. And Scott, what do you think? Do the IndyCar drivers have a shot at it this year?
Well, you know, Bob, typically the open-wheel drivers are certainly at a bit of a disadvantage. It's the best NASCAR drivers on their track with their cars. In the last 5 years, they've only won 15% of the time. But this year, things might be different. Jay Signore and the IROC team have added roof spoiler and more rear spoiler for more downforce, makes the cars easier to drive, gives off a bigger wake, better drafting, so that should help. Certainly also, Eddie Cheever and Kevin Brack are 2 really aggressive drivers, adapted well to these cars, and if the other open wheel guys can get behind them, help them, they might have a surprise for them.
And also with us, Jeffrey Bodine, who is a former winner of the Daytona 500 and the 1987 champion of the IROC Series. What do you think? Are the IndyCar guys going to have a show today?
Well, Bob, Scott really said it all. I mean, with the cars changed a little bit, more aerodynamics, more drafting, easier to drive, with the experience the open wheel guys have at some of these tracks, like here at Daytona, don't be surprised if you see one of those boys driving victory lane. Dale
Earnhardt is the defending champion of the race and also of the series. 40 laps, 100 miles of competition. The yellow flag laps do not count. We'll be back with the lineup in a moment to Daytona. And the cars are on the racetrack getting ready for 40 laps, 100 miles of competition. There you see the front row pulling alongside the pace car. Dale Earnhardt in the green car and Eddie Cheever in silver at the top of the racetrack. 12 cars, all colored differently and set to duke it out here on the high banks of Daytona. Going to take a couple of warm-up laps before they get the green flag. Let's take a look at the lineup from the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. On the pole is Dale Earnhardt, and alongside from the Indy Racing Northern Light Series, Eddie Cheever. Earnhardt is a 4-time and defending IROC champion. He'll drive the green car. Cheever is in silver, won the IROC race at Michigan last year. In row number 2 from the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, Jeff Burton. And from the Indy Racing Northern Light Series, Scott Goodyear. Burton will be driving the rose-colored car. He was 3rd in Winston Cup points last year. Goodyear finished 2nd in IRO points last year. His car is aqua-colored. In row number 3 from the Kart FedEx Championship Series, Kenny Breck. And the Indy Racing Northern Light Series, Mark Dismore. Breck was Rookie of the Year in 2000 in the Champ cars. He's in yellow. Dismore is in the lime-colored car, returning for his 2nd effort in IROC. 4th row from the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, Dale Jarrett. Alongside from the Indy Racing Northern Light Series, Buddy Lazier. Jarrett will be driving the medium blue car. He was 6th in IROC Series in his 6th series, and Lazier in red is the 2000 champion of the IRL. Row 5 from the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, Tony Stewart. And from the same series is Ricky Rudd. Stewart will be driving white, is subbing for an injured Gilles DeFerrin from the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Rudd will be in gold and won the IROC title in '92. Then Bobby Labonte from Winston Cup and Jeff Green from the NASCAR Busch Series in the last row. Bobby Labonte will be in the violet car as the defending Winston Cup champion, and Green in black is the defending Busch Series champion. It's a 2.5-mile high bank tri-oval, 40 laps of racing. The banking in the corners is at 31 degrees. And this is the 21st race here at the World Center of Racing. The first race, however, back in 1974, was run on the road course here. And there is the prize breakdown, $1,025,000 in total money, with the money being handed out at the end of the year. The winner gets $250,000. Okay, we're set to go as the pace car heads for the pit area, and Dale Earnhardt leads them down. They get the green flag, and here we go in the silver anniversary season of the International Race of Champions, with Earnhardt jumping out to a bit of a lead here as they enter the banking at the west end of the racetrack. The battle for 2nd position, that is Burton down on the inside, and Eddie Cheever alongside in the silver car. They're 2-by-2 back of Earnhardt, who right now is out in the lead. On board with Kenny Breck as they race down the backstretch for the first time. Now dropping back just a little bit. He drops back to 3rd position as Jeff Burton has the lead as they come off of corner number 4 for the first time. Earnhardt in the green car moves to the inside, tries to get back that 2nd position, but lap number 1 in this race is going to be led by Jeff Burton. Breck is 2nd, and Earnhardt was in 3rd position. I don't know what happened there on the backstretch to you, Jeff. He just, for some reason, lost the lead.
Well, no, for some reason, it's called drafting. These cars, like Scott said earlier in the beginning of the broadcast, they've increased the downforce, increased the wings on the back, the spoilers, and the draft is even better. Here's another draft for the lead. It just looks like it's going to be that kind of a race where no one can stay out in front.
And a bit of a bump draft, if you will. Earnhardt bumping Jeff Burton as they go into the banking, and Breck down on the bottom side of the racetrack. Scott Kenny Breck grew up in Sweden and really got his start on the road courses, but since he's come to America, he's been very impressive on the ovals.
He really has, Bob. He did great in 1999, his first IROC appearance. He's said he's worked real closely with Dick Trick, who's helped him immensely, and he's pretty aggressive for not having a lot of time in these cars. I think Kenny could really be up front most of the day today.
Well, as to who led lap number 2, no, it was that close with Burton and Breck running side by side as they cross the line once again at the top of the racetrack. It's Dale Earnhardt bumping Jeff Burton, and very close behind in the 3rd position is Eddie Cheever as that top line now begins to pull away from the line at the inside of the racetrack, which is led by Kenny Breck with Dale Jarrett right behind Breck in the yellow car.
This is the first time any of you guys have ever been in these cars. I always use the test car before this, so all the cars are a little bit different. I'd have to think that's a little bit tougher probably for the open wheel guys than NASCAR, wouldn't you?
They're 3 wide as they come down to complete another lap. Now they get into two abreast formation as they head for the banking once again, and Earnhardt on the inside pulls alongside Jeff Burton. Probably the driver with the least experience in these cars is Buddy Lazier, who's running at the back of the field right now in that red car, and again some very close racing out there.
Well, that got real close. Eddie and Kenny Brack got together, and I think Eddie got a little crossed up. He was able to catch the car and keep it going.
And Tony Stewart may be off the pace.
Looks like something's wrong with Tony's car. He's definitely slowing down. Looks like he is going to go into the pits and see if they can fix the car. But it's not looking good right now for Tony.
Well, Tony was not among the original invitees for the 25th year of IROC. He got the nod when Gilles de Ferrin, who was injured in a testing crash, decided that he was just not going to do at least this first race. We'll see how things go later this year. Now from Eddie Cheever's onboard camera, we'll see the contact that was made. Look at to the inside and scraping that car as he went by. Jarrett now has the lead, leading Jeff Burton and Kenny Brack as they head into turn number 3 once again. So we'll take a break and be right back with more of IROC 25 in Daytona. Dale Jarrett leads after 4 of 40 laps. Lead at the top of the track, but now Eddie Cheever on the bottom side gets drafting help from Kenny Brack, and they begin to make it a race up front once again. But Labonte has come on from the last row to be in the lead, but look at Earnhardt up there in the top group, now falling in behind Labonte, and we see Rudd running in 3rd spot and Buddy Lazier in the 4th spot in that red car. So despite the lack of practice, he's looking pretty good. And Jeff Green also has some problems that bring him to the apron of the racetrack, and smoke trailing behind that Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, and he too heads for pit road as we have completed now 10 laps of the 40 that make up this round number 1 of IROC 25. Here is Cheever and Buddy Lazier running for the racing for the 4th position. And it looks like that Jarrett is going to pull to the inside of the racetrack and make it 3 wide down the backstretch as they leave Kenny Brack in the middle, and he drops back to the rear of the field in yellow. And Jeff Green pulls in. Jerry, what's the problem there?
Well, they have raised the hood on the defending NASCAR Busch Grand National Series champions cars. He gets unhooked, and the field flashes by. We'll try to ask Jeff. They're looking beneath the hood. Jeff, what happened?
I don't know. Jerry blowed up, I guess. Man, what a lot of fun. It's the first time I ever got to do this, and just having a blast out there and getting a little bit of practice from a Busch car this afternoon. But just unfortunately, I got the one that's going to blow up, I guess, today.
Defending Busch Series champion Jeff Green, the first to exit here in round 1 of IROC 25.
Now remember, the starting lineup for the second race will be determined by the finishing position of this race, and so Tony Stewart and Jeff Green, who have had problems here already in this race, will be starting up front in the second event of the year. That will be at Talladega. 11 laps completed at Daytona. Bobby Labonte now in the lead. Round 1 of the True Value IROC Series number 25. We are on the 13th lap of the race at 1,000 feet above Daytona International Speedway is the Budweiser.com airship, brought to you by Budweiser, with the clean, crisp, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. And the field comes off of corner number 4, about to complete the 13th lap of the race. And at the front of the field is Bobby Labonte with Dale Earnhardt running in second and Ricky Rudd in 3rd position. Bob Jenkins along with Scott Sharp and Jeffrey Bodine with the action here in the booth, and Jerry Punch on pit road. Now, Tony Stewart did come into the pits a little bit earlier. He, however, has returned to the racetrack and is still in the race, but Jeff Green has been retired from competition. So there are really 10 cars running together out there as they head down the backstretch once again. And Dale Earnhardt, who started from the pole position, tucked in behind the leader of the race, Bobby Labonte. And we're on board, True Value on board camera with Ricky Rudd. is going to follow Earnhardt to the bottom of the racetrack, and they're going to draft around Bobby Labonte, and Labonte is going to lose several positions here. And look who's running in fourth spot. We already told you that Buddy Lazier has the least experience driving these cars, but he's looking pretty good here in the first 13 laps.
He's doing a great job. Really has been staying right in line, using the draft, letting the holes open for him as opposed to be so often it seems like the open wheel drivers tend to go for any hole that's available and end up finding themselves lost in the draft. So chatted with Buddy earlier, and his plan, I think, was to really just stay in line, get some experience, and hopefully be there towards the finish. And it seems like he's sticking right according to that right now.
Lazier is the defending 2000 Indy Racing Northern Light Series champion, Jerry, and he's still running fourth.
And Bob, to tell you how impressive that is for Buddy Lazier, a lot of the open wheel guys who have not been on these stock cars or these IROC cars came here early in the week to test. Lazier wanted to be here, but he called Jay Signori, the president of IROC, said, I had to test my Northern Light Series Indy Racing League car, and I cannot get there. He said, I am so sorry. I wanted to put on a good show. I wanted to come down and run well the first time out. Well, guess what? He didn't get here, but he is one heck of a race driver and showing it right now.
Putting on a great show as he's now running 3 wide with the veterans of the series down the backstretch. Now they turn into a 2 abreast formation, but now again it's 3 abreast down the backstretch.
Yeah, I believe Buddy had some white knuckles up coming off turn 2. He got caught in the middle of 2 other cars, and his car started moving around, as you can see. And right about then, he was hoping, wishing he wasn't in the middle, and now he's falling back in line. And that's a much more comfortable position to be than where he was just a little bit ago.
And now it's Ricky Rudd at the front of the field with Earnhardt running in second position. And third place is Mark Dismore, another driver from the Indy Racing Northern Light Series. And Dismore received an invitation for the second consecutive year this year. Didn't have a particularly impressive year last year, but is trying to put on a good show here today and is doing so, running right up there in third position.
Had an interesting conversation with Kenny Brack before the race, and he really talked to me about the fact that people always think, oh, the NASCAR drivers, they won't help the open wheel drivers out here. He said, really, that's not the case. I think once everyone's out here, no one's really sure. They didn't memorize the colors of the car. They don't know who's in what car. He said it's a matter of the open wheel drivers learning how to drive these cars like the NASCAR drivers do. To drive the cars very free in the corners, not put a lot of steering in it, line the cars up, and keep the foot flat out all the way around here. Don't be lifting. That's how you quickly lose the draft.
Well, Jeff, the names of the drivers are on the side of the car, but if you're following somebody, you haven't memorized their color and you don't know who it is.
No, only if you have a really, really good memory. And I don't know any race driver that has a real good memory, unless somebody ran into him last week. Then they remember that. But no, you're really focusing on just doing the best you can with what you have. And look at Earnhardt just freezing down the back of who is that?
That's Rudd.
Ricky Rudd. Yeah. Oh, I bet Ricky's in there just praising Earnhardt for that. Bump drafting is fine as long as you're going straight down the straightaway. But when you're entering a corner or going through a corner, you don't want anyone to be bump drafting you.
And Buddy Lazier shoots to the inside of the racetrack in that red car and passes Bobby Labonte in the violet car. Here comes Dale Jarrett in the blue car. They are 4 wide entering turn number 1, and Jarrett got off the apron of the racetrack up into the banking before they reached the corner, and it's a good thing.
Wow, these guys better probably try to get tucked back together again, or else the lead quartet there is going to run right away from them.
Yeah, there are 4 cars that have broken away now from 5th on back, and that's because 5th on back are doing a little bit of side-by-side racing. And as long as they do that, and as long as the guys running up front stay in line, they're going to be able to pull away just a little bit. In that lead draft, Rudd, Earnhardt, Dismore, and Cheever. 18 of 40 laps completed at Daytona International Speedway. The 25th year of the True Value International Race of Champions. This is round number 1. We're at Daytona International Speedway, and we are approaching the halfway point. As they come down now, they will see cross flags, and 20 laps out of 40 are completed. And back in the lead is Dale Earnhardt.
No big big surprise. You know, he likes to be out front, and what we just saw a few laps ago, there was a little gap between the front group and the second group of cars, but look at now, they're right behind each other. They've caught up really quickly, and that's just a good example of the extra aerodynamic package that Jason Nor, his people have put on these IROC cars. They're creating a tremendous draft to where cars can fall back and still catch up with the lead pack.
In a lot of ways, Jeff, these cars are a lot like the Busch cars, aren't they? They run a smaller carburetor, 390 carburetor, and the drivers have said the throttle response real similar to a Busch car.
Yeah, exactly. And they do draft really well. It's still hard to pass, but with all the extra draft, the roof flap that you see on top of the car, like the Winston Cup and the Busch cars are using, it does create a tremendous amount of draft. And even though you don't have a lot of horsepower, you can still make a run and pass cars.
On Dale Earnhardt's pole-sitting car, and by the way, the starting positions were determined by a draw this time. Like I said, the lineup for the other races will be determined by the finishing position of the previous race, with the drivers finishing last, starting up front. On that car are 50 handprints from children, symbolizing True Value's new partnership with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The Make-A-Wish Foundation will receive $40,000. That's $1,000 for every lap, and 6 children are being granted their wish today. Their wish was to come to Daytona and meet the True Value IROC and NASCAR drivers. And so there's 6 very happy children here at Daytona, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation $40,000 richer because of the new partnership between the Make-A-Wish Foundation and True Value. Well, it's Earnhardt leading. Right behind him in second position is Mark Dismore. Third is Burton, then comes Breck, then Labonte, then Dale Jarrett running in the 6th position, followed by Eddie Cheever. A bit of a break back to Buddy Lazier, who's running in the 8th spot. 17 IROC seasons for Dale Earnhardt. He has 11 wins. That's the most of any driver in the series. He's tied with Al Unser Jr. for that number, and 4 championships, and that is tied with Mark Martin, who also has 4. But Jeff, Mark Martin was not among the invitees for the 25th season.
Yeah, can you believe that? The fellow that dominated the series the last few years so greatly isn't here. Doesn't seem right watching this race without Mark out there, but he didn't finish high enough up in the Winston Cup point standings to be eligible for this series, and that's the way they choose drivers, and how you finish in your points series, and Mark just didn't quite make it this year.
Tight drafting down the backstretch here.
But we have some great drivers out here, and I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting series this year, even without Mark Martin. But I know he's in the garage right now watching this race, just wishing he was out there behind one of these cars. Probably especially that green one that's leading the race right now.
Obviously, the rule change that the True Value Series has made, usually by now, 15, 20 laps into the race, you see a couple guys have started to lose the draft, and here you see everyone's all tightened up in a big bunch. Obviously, that making the cars easier draft is really helping everybody stay together.
And it's good to see your teammate Mark Dismore running there in second position and making a real fine showing here. He started in 8th position and finished last year in Daytona. Last year, his best finish last year was a 10th, but Mark is looking very, very good here in the first half of this race. He was 5th in the Indy Racing Northern Light Series points last year. We'll take a break and be back with more of IROC 25. Back to Daytona International Speedway. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Jeffrey Bodine and Scott Sharp, as we call the action in the first race of IROC 25. And we are 25 laps into the race, and we have 10 cars running in tight formation out there down the backstretch. That's Dale Earnhardt in the green car up on the high side, but the low line now, with the draft led by Jeff Burton, is going to go into the lead, and Kenny Breck is right behind him in the second position. So Earnhardt, who has been one of 6 leaders here and has led the most laps, doesn't have the lead anymore. As a matter of fact, he drops back to 5th spot as Burton comes down and leads lap number 26.
Bob, I'm sure you've noticed the roof flap on, especially Jeff Burton's car, keeps flapping up and down. Right there you can see it. It just goes up and down, and that's an indication of the air flowing the wrong way over the back of that roof. You wouldn't think that could happen, but it really does. And actually, there's air flowing over the top of that roof flap that sucks it up. And you see the little air dam on the top front of the roof. We didn't see this happening last year, but the addition of that new air dam has created that kind of a vacuum on top of the roof, which is opening those roof flaps, which is really a strange thing to watch. It really doesn't slow the cars down any, but it's fun to watch.
Oh! Burton in trouble with Earnhardt.
Mark Dismore in there.
Dismore gets in trouble.
Oh, Lazier got tagged.
Yep. And Lazier making contact with Dismore once again here in the tri-oval area of the racetrack. This coming on lap number 27 of 40.
Well, Jeff, those are two guys I wouldn't have thought would have run into each other.
Yeah.
That's a strange looking accident. It looked like Burton just moved right for some reason. You know, we'll have to ask him, but I don't know if he thought there was a gap in between him and Earnhardt or what, but it was just a sudden move to the right.
There's Greenfield, Indiana's Mark Dismore as he has climbed from his race car. He's okay. Buddy Lazier is still out there, but as you can see, he has gotten some damage on that car. And there is Jeff Burton, who is also walking away from his Pontiac Firebird Grand Prix. Well, let's take a look at the accident. It happened as they were coming off corner number 4. Watch the rose-colored car, and you're right, Burton just drifted right up into the outside of the racetrack into Earnhardt.
Yeah, I mean,
almost looked like the front of his car was a little high, wasn't it, as it took off up to the top?
it just took off. I mean, that isn't Jeff Burton driving that thing. Something happened to cause that car to go to the right like that.
And we have another look at it from the Budweiser airship. And I don't know, there was a hole there, but he didn't make it.
That's possible. Like I said, we're going to have to ask the driver to try to find out what really happened. Sometimes drivers don't always tell the truth.
Jerry, let's talk to Jeff Burton.
Jeff, trying to look at the replay, it looked like your car just jumped all of a sudden to one side. What happened?
Well, I was really loose before, like the 3 laps before that, like I had a tire going down or something. But nothing happened to the car. I looked in my mirror and didn't see anybody. I had one blind spot, and he must have been there. I just turned into him. It's 100% my fault.
So a tough break for you in the first outing, but you got 3 more to go.
Well, it's in the way to start it off, and worse yet, I hate other people got messed up. It was my fault, nobody else's.
All right, Jeff Burton, let's go back here and get a word with Mark Dismore as Jeff walks back. And Mark, you had a great run going. It was the best one you've had thus far in IROC, and it's unfortunate.
I'm a slow learner, Jerry, but I can learn, and I'm looking forward to the whole year. This is a lot of fun, and I get out of the gate a little slow, but I'm getting the hang of it.
All right, Mark Dismore, you can hear how disappointed he is. He had a good run going, and he'd been working so hard this week in practice day. He said, I really wanted to get a top 5 finish here in my first outing this year in IROC 25.
Buddy Lazier's car has stopped up off of corner number 4, quite a ways from the entrance to the pit area, so he is going to be another victim of this incident. Let's take a look again. Keep your eye on the car to the right, the pink or rose-colored car driven by Jeff Burton.
Yeah, from that angle, you know, we couldn't see the gap, but from the angle from the blimp, there definitely was a gap between those cars. And Burton, like he said, very honest driver. Got to respect him for that. He was trying to get in that hole and just didn't make it.
And we're on board with Buddy Lazier now. He will be a late involvee in this accident. There's his vision just completely blocked by smoke.
There's really nothing Buddy could have done there, boy.
And from Kenny Brex on board. His vision also obscured, but looked like he made it through pretty good.
Those who were able to drop to the bottom seem to be able to get through the carnage.
And there is Dale Earnhardt's car that received some serious damage, Jerry.
Absolutely, Bob. As you can tell, take a look at this Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. The front end is okay. It's not pushed in, but the left front fender was pushed in against the tire. Suspension-wise, I'm told by the True Value IROC Series engineers that it's okay inside, but unfortunately, as the guys up beside you in the booth can tell, here it's all aerodynamic, and that left front fender is pushed in. The lower bumper, some of the air dam area is crumpled, so he certainly will not be nearly as slick as he was at the beginning of this race. A tough break for the four-time IROC champion.
Well, the red flag is out, so all the cars have been brought to pit road. They'll survey the damage and try to get as many back out there as possible. Back in a moment.
Change things up.
Something new, something different. McDonald's new taste.
IROC Series, the 25th year. We had a wreck here on the main straightaway that has eliminated Jeff Burton and Mark Dismore. Now, Dale Earnhardt's car has been patched up and is back out there. Here's the replay of the incident. That's Jeff Burton moving right up into the path of Dale Earnhardt.
Great move by Scott Goodyear. Dropped low, real decisive, missed everything.
And there is Earnhardt, who, as you can see, has a lot of tape on the front of that car. And we're also seeing some smoke coming from the left front of that car, and I'm sure he's got some rub there, Jeff.
It sure looks like that, Bob, and you know, that could go away, actually. Once you get up to speed in the banking, the tire will hit whatever's rubbing and possibly knock it out of the way, so there's no danger. But if it doesn't do that, that could be a serious problem for Dale.
Coming down for the green flag. We got 14 laps to go in this event. Now, up front, we have Dale Jarrett on the right side of your screen. That's Eddie Cheever to his outside as the green comes out, and we're back to racing. Scott Goodyear in the aqua car. Bobby Labonte in violet. The gold car is Ricky Rudd, then Earnhardt. Kenny Breck is right behind him, and Tony Stewart in a white car. Although Tony Stewart is not on the lead lap, he is 5 laps down. The race resumes as they head for the banking once again. And Dale Jarrett has the lead as they come out of corner number 2 and head down the backstretch.
We are seeing some smoke off of Earnhardt's left front tire. Keep our eye on that, see if that does go away. If it doesn't, I believe Dale will probably have to come in and get that worked
out. On board with Kenny Breck. True Value on-board cameras. They head into the east banking of the racetrack. Coming down to complete lap number 27 of 40.
With as warm out as it is today, tires are probably starting to slide around quite a lot, probably giving everybody this break a chance to cool everything off, and the car's pretty solid underneath them, you say?
Yeah, Goodyear has a great tire here. I saw that in the trucks and the 125s with the Cup cars. But they do start to give up. They start to lose a little grip after 20, 25 laps, and you see the car start sliding around a little bit, moving around in the corners, and I'm sure this little break will help everyone's tires to cool off and get some of that grip back.
We have had 6 leaders in this race. Dale Earnhardt has led 4 times for a total of 9 laps. Jeff Burton led 3 times, total of 5 laps. Ricky Rudd has been in front for 5 laps. Labonte for 5 laps. Jarrett coming up on lap number 3, and Kenny Breck has also been at the front of the field for 1 lap. So 6 leaders and 11 lead changes, and now Eddie Cheever will begin the drafting line at the bottom to the left of Jarrett, and he is going to take the lead and bring Scott Goodyear, his Indy Racing Northern Light Series competitor, right with him, although that line at the top of the track is perhaps the better one now.
Oh, I was going to say, Eddie needs to stay on the bottom and help Scott a little bit there, but...
Now Cheever taking Jarrett down to the bottom of the racetrack, down the backstretch, and Jarrett goes back up toward the front, although Bobby Labonte now has the advantage.
Look at the green car. That's Mr. Earnhardt.
Taped up.
You know, when they were fixing that car, we noticed the air dam actually on the left front of that car was a little lower than it should have been because he got bumped. And that can cause 2 things to happen. One, it could actually make the car go a little faster. but at the same time, being closer to the ground, it could make the car a little looser driving. And we're going to have to wait and see what really that did affect it. The car was pretty fast right now, but it could get a little too loose to drive. But as we all know, Earnhardt likes a loose car.
Now Earnhardt will take the lead once again as they go down the backstretch. Jarrett and Labonte are hooked up. That's Kenny Breck in yellow, and also Ricky Rudd up there in the gold car. But Earnhardt, despite the fact that the car is all banged up from his involvement in the crash and all patched up with tape, is leading the race. But here comes Jarrett once again to recapture the lead of the race at the line. Jarrett has never finished better than third in an IROC race, and he has done that on 3 different occasions, most recently at Michigan in 1997. And he's also finished third here at Daytona. That was back in 1994. So Jarrett had his best run ever in IROC going into this event.
Kenny Brack, Lady Cheever, the yellow and silver cars there. Scott Goodyear behind me, Michael Carr. Maybe all 3 of those guys can get together, make a run here.
Jarrett and Labonte come down to complete another lap. A little bit of distance back to the third place battle between Breck and Earnhardt, and Cheever's got his nose in there also right behind Kenny. We've got less than 10 laps to go now, and we'll be back for the finish as Dale Jarrett leads Bobby Labonte, Kenny Breck, Dale Earnhardt, and Eddie Cheever in IROC 25.
Try all you want, but nothing can replace the rush you get from a Kawasaki Ninja.
You better believe a pain like this, from a soul like this, will go on like this, live on like this, and look like this, give you pride like this, 'cause it's true.
It's True Value paint, and you can't do better. It really is this good.
Goes on like this, lives on like this, looks like this, right like this.
True Value paint. Great paint, great store.
You ready, guys? This could be the ride of your life. You gotta get past the myths and the excuses. Erectile difficulty is a common problem. Effective treatment is available. Talk to your doctor. You might be surprised how easily you can get through it.
Less than 7 laps to go in round 1 of the True Value IROC Series 25. We're at Daytona International Speedway. Dale Earnhardt started from the pole, was involved in a crash. They threw the red flag. They came in. The cars were adjusted as far as the damage is concerned to Earnhardt's car. They patched it up as good as they could, and look who is in front. It is Earnhardt, who is leading Eddie Cheever, who started alongside Earnhardt in the front row at the start of the race. They're still running in first and second position. Kenny Breck and Ricky Rudd are running third and fourth, and they're coming down to complete lap number 34 of 40.
Even though Earnhardt's car is banged up, he took the lead, then he lost the lead, but he's back in the lead. That little crash, all the duct tape, all the work they did on that car during the break definitely didn't slow that car down much, if any.
Earnhardt has won 6 of the last 9 IROC series that he has participated in here at Daytona. He won last year here, our True Value telemetry on board with Kenny Breck with a top speed of about 177 miles an hour down the backstretch, then a slight loss of speed as they enter the corner. Breck running in the 3rd spot. That's Eddie Cheever up ahead.
I'll tell you, Eddie looks pretty strong.
Yeah, he does.
He's be able to sort of stretches out a little bit on Kenny on the straightaways and be able to stay right behind Dale. He might be a contender here with 5 laps to go.
5 indeed to go, and Jeff, I do not see, as you said, might occur, any smoke coming from the front of that Earnhardt car, so apparently there is no longer a rub on the left side.
No, it looks pretty clean right there. Rub for a lap or 2, and must have taken the rub, wore it away, and there's no smoke, there's no signs of any trouble there, so Mr. Earnhardt has got his foot to the floor, and he has plans to try to win this race. It looks pretty good right now for him.
Indeed it does. Cheever right there in 2nd position. This is Eddie's 3rd year in the IROC Series. He finished 11th here at Daytona in '99 and 11th here last year after starting in 4th position and doing a little bump drafting there on Earnhardt through the tri-oval. There are less than 4 laps to go now, and Cheever looks like he wants to take the lead if he can find a drafting partner to help him.
He's got one behind him in Kenny Brack, and boy, Eddie's all over Dale. See, Eddie made motion with his hand there. I think he wants Kenny to stay right with him, set things up for the final lap here. He's looking. Dale's blocking a little early here, Jeff.
Well, you know, they're trying to find out what they can do, and what this is showing me is these boys might need to make their move before 1 lap to go, because it looks pretty hard to pass. They were lined up, they were together, trying to work together. They still didn't go by Earnhardt, so it's going to be really interesting to see when they try to make the move and if it's at the right time.
3 laps to go now, 37 on the board. Earnhardt continues to lead. Cheever, Breck, Rudd, and Labonte are the top 5, and those 5 are separated just a little bit from Dale Jarrett, who's running back in the 6th position. Then behind Jarrett is Goodyear.
Looks like Scott's lost the draft a bit here now.
Goodyear there in the Aqua car is indeed out of the draft. There is Jarrett back there in the 6th position.
Come on, Kenny.
Oh, we watch up front.
He's get up there and hit. Just bump draft with Eddie, push him by. I tell you, if there's one guy, we've all seen this before. I don't think you want to be going the last lap with Earnhardt leading.
Well, you don't want Earnhardt leading or 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th anywhere, because he doesn't matter where we go.
Here we go.
On the outside. Come on, Kenny.
With 2 laps.
Eddie. Kenny.
And they touch into turn. Earnhardt is in the grass.
Look at him hang on to that car. Big save.
Amazing. He did not crash.
Great save, but a bad, terrible move by Cheever. You just can't front somebody down in the grass like that. That is way too dangerous.
Eddie's pretty aggressive all the time, and today is no exception.
We need to have a camera down in the garage area after this race.
Now here comes Rudd up on the high side of the racetrack trying to take the lead from Cheever.
Might get a camera down in the grass.
Yeah, now Eddie, don't try to put him through the wall.
I think Eddie is decided he's going to win this race one way or the other.
They're coming down for the white flag. Some contact between Bobby Labonte in violet and Kenny Breck in the yellow car.
Look at Eddie's car sliding around.
Oh, they are bumping, they're sliding.
Kenny and Dale Jarrett. Come on, Kenny. Oh. Wow, man.
This looks like a Saturday night short track race.
This is great.
Sure is.
Up front, Rudd and Cheever are side by side as they head down the backstretch for the final time. They're still trading paint on those Pontiac Trans Am Firebirds, and Cheever suddenly darts to the inside, and that opens up the hole for Dale Jarrett, who go up and battle to the inside of Rudd. And now Breck comes up and bumps Jarrett in the back end. 5 cars go at it here for the win in round number 1 of the True Value IROC 25. Down off corner number 4. Rudd and Jarrett touch. They head for the line. Who's it going to be? Jarrett with the inside line, and Dale Jarrett wins by just a matter of a foot or so.
Wow, we have 3 cars side by side coming across for fight for 3rd place.
4 laps to go. Dale Jarrett looked like he lost a draft.
Yep.
That lead group. And he wins the race.
Back there in 5th position and a little bit behind the other 4, but he wins.
That's his first win in IROC, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Like I said, he's never finished better than 3rd until until today, but he brings home the win in the first round of True Value IROC 12.
Oh!
What's going on?
Well,
Cheever is...
we didn't make it to the garage area before. There's a little natural
payback going on in the back straightaway, I think, right about now.
Well, I didn't see it, but it sure got a large cheer from the crowd, and I have a feeling that Earnhardt maybe had some words with Eddie.
And I really don't blame Dale. I'm not condoning what he just did, but the move that Eddie did on Dale, putting him down to the apron and then into the grass, was just way out of line.
Meanwhile, the 1999 NASCAR Winston Cup champion has won round number 1 of IROC here at Daytona. Dale Jarrett brings home the victory. Now, here is the incident between Cheever and Earnhardt.
Eddie's really up in the high, really third groove up there.
This is where
Eddie just drives him all the way down to the bottom.
It sends Earnhardt through the grass. He does not lose control, gets up on the apron, then up on the banking once again, and stays in the throttle.
That's some great car control. Wow.
There, meanwhile, was Jarrett. Now, watch the right side. There's the contact that sent Cheever sideways, spinning.
It's a little nerf there. Tell him who's boss, I guess.
A wild first round of here's the finish. Now watch Jarrett win the race over Ricky Rudd, but that tremendous battle for third position, Cheever, Breck, and Labonte.
With Cheever coming out in third place there. Side by side.
Wow, that was
get
close.
any closer. That's fantastic.
Rudd and Gant had the draw for second place here a few years ago and is almost that close for second or third place this year. Back in just a moment. ESPN's coverage of round 1 of IROC 25 for Daytona International Speedway being brought to you by True Value, where help is just around the corner. Dale Jarrett wins a couple of on-track skirmishes between Earnhardt and Cheever. Let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Eddie Cheever, what a wild day at IROC. First of all, you and Dale Earnhardt down in turn 1.
Oh, we you know, I have been working with him. He's great to work behind, and we worked our way up, and I made a mistake. I tried to pass him on the outside. I got sideways. I clipped him once, and then I started spinning. I clipped him again, and he got it together, and he's special, man. That guy knows what he's doing. But you know, stuff happens. It's fun racing with him. This is not my sandbox. This is their sandbox. But it's an honor to come down here, and I apologize for making a mistake. But my job is not to let off. My job is to stay on.
Eddie, what happened after the race? Just tempers a little bit?
No. He came down. I thought I was going to get an ass kicking, but he came down and said, "I'll race you next time, no problem." It was definitely my mistake.
All right, Eddie Cheever, guys.
And the next time will be on Sunday, May 27th, 4:30 Eastern Time, the second race of IROC 25. That will be on ABC, and it will be from Talladega Super Speedway. Be sure to join us. The race here this afternoon won by Dale Jarrett. There's the incident between Earnhardt and Eddie Cheever. Thanks to Scott Sharp and Jeffrey Bodine and Jerry Punch, I'm Bob Jenkins. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.